Hello and welcome to Access Sports Lakers. I'm your host, Ellie Clifton. Joining me is our Laker insider, Mike Bresnahan, and covering the NBA, yeah, he's always here, for Fox Sports, Melissa Rowland. She is not always here, so we get excited when she is.
I get very excited to come in.
That's a good thing.
What are you up to?
You know, just covering the Lakers, covering the Clippers, covering the league.
You're all over the
Basketball
place.
started again, all over the place.
That'll
Glad to
keep you
have you
busy. Melissa was at practice today.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into sound from her.
Okay.
Yeah. Hard-hitting questions.
I like it.
But we begin this edition of Access, get it started with the latest from the Lakers injury report. Russell Westbrook is listed as doubtful for Wednesday's game in Denver versus the Nuggets because of the same hamstring injury that he suffered in the final game of the preseason. Left hamstring soreness is what they're calling it. He's played in all 3 games this season. As for Darvin Ham, he remains encouraged by the Lakers' early season play.
And you just can't be discouraged. Again, you're doing everything, they're doing everything we're asking them to do. And that's all you can ask for. And again, it comes with reps. It comes with the more they get familiar with one another. You just got to keep working at it, I don't know a painter that goes into an art studio and has everything available to him and uses the wrong colors to match with, and he gives up. No, you just got to keep drawing and keep drawing and keep drawing. So now you work your way into having a masterpiece, and that's the process. Understanding what colors go with what and what type of canvas we're going to set for ourselves. And I think the canvas thus far, the blessing of the season so far has been, again, the way we've competed, the way we've played tough, and the way we've defended overall.
I know hindsight sees 20/20, but oftentimes film can be a blessing and a curse. And you go back and watch the film from Sunday. As you guys look to get better, anything stand out to you?
Our shot selection. Down the stretch, our shot selection was very poor. He wasn't getting into any reactions or sets, which caused Bron to shoot a tough shot on the wing. Pat to also shoot a tough shot. So when we don't have any order, on the offensive end, especially late game, when we're up, we got to get good shot selections, and those led to, buckets for them, and end up making some tough shots and end up pulling it out.
So 0-3 to start the season, not the way, of course, the Lakers would have liked it. We're going to talk biggest question marks for the Lakers moving forward. You're going with an obvious one, I believe, to begin, but one we need to discuss, Brett.
Yeah, thank you for letting me go first, Melissa. I really appreciate it. I will take the elephant in the room, the shooting. I mean, no doubt about this team on a historic pace through 3 games, just not connecting from deep. And it's like, where do you start? I just went back today and looked at the current stats. They have 2 people shooting better than 29% from three-point range. One is Max Christie. He's taken 1 3. He made it against Golden State. Congrats. He's now with the G League. The other one is Matt Ryan, who has not been playing a whole lot lately. So in other words, no one is shooting the ball well from deep. You got to end this trend. You got to stop this history making. How do you do it? You make shots. You got to keep taking them. You got to keep making them. There's no easy solution right now, that's for sure.
And right now, things are not easy for Russell Westbrook, and that's where you begin.
Right. My biggest question is how much longer is Russ going to be on this team? It's been a very difficult start of the season for him. Obviously, he went 0 for 10, and then last game, he decided to take a shot with 28 seconds left. He missed it. He didn't use the clock. It wasn't a smart shot. The Lakers ended up losing that game against the Trailblazers, and the question becomes, how much longer are the Lakers going to be able to put up with his mistakes? He's getting a lot of criticism, and I don't think it's necessarily fair that he's being blamed for all of the Lakers' woes. In the game that he shot 0 for 10 against the Clippers, he also had 5 steals. So I do think that he's turned into the scapegoat of the team, but he's doing himself no favors here. He's curt with the media. After that game when he was 0 for 10, he was asked about his performance. He said it was solid. Then after he missed that shot the other night, I mean, he's not taking accountability. He's not taking responsibility. And I think he's just making this an untenable situation for himself.
I know we're going to dive into that question in terms of that criticism later in the show when you presented that to Darvin and AD. But accountability is a big word surrounding Russell Westbrook right now. For you, your second point, big question mark, bench production. Yeah,
they're 29th in the league in bench points, and it's a little surprising to me, especially compared to last year. I call this the Carmelo factor. He was always coming off the bench, always get you that 14 or 15 points. Well, he's out of the league right now. You know, a lot of those guys the Lakers had on the bench last year are no longer with the team. Malik Monk also was pretty good off the bench last year. Plenty of starting as well for him. I was going to say spot starts, but he did a lot of starting, period. Now you have guys like Kendrick Nunn really struggling the last 2 games, 0 for 10. Austin Reeves has yet to find that stroke that we got familiar with towards the end of last season. The bench just is not carrying its weight after being middle of the pack last year, right around 14th in points per game.
Someone who is a little bit more than 14 points per game and looking pretty good through 3, yeah. Anthony Davis. Your second point.
I like it.
AD is looking really good. And I think the big question, and this is going to determine whether the Lakers are going to be able to turn it around this season, because let's not forget, even though they're 0-3, they could have been 2-1. They easily could have won 2 games, and it's because of AD. AD's been playing exceptionally well. The big question is, can he stay healthy? He's suffering with a sore back. We saw him take a hard fall on his back. He's being asked to do a lot both on the offensive and the defensive end. He's being asked to be, you know, a top 2-way player. And that's a huge load. And AD only played in 76 combined games the last 2 seasons. He's obviously struggled with his health a lot throughout his career. And Darvin Ham has said over and over again that the key to the Lakers doing well this season is 100% AD. So can he stay healthy?
And I love the emotion we saw not only in that game on Sunday, but that was after the fall from Friday, so he passed that first test, but then also the emotion he showed after the game. Not happy, not pleased. And talking to our friend BT today, he's like, I want that AD all season long.
Yeah.
Another big question mark surrounding the team is if they can get their first win of the season Wednesday versus the Nuggets. And if they don't, this year's squad, check it out, would tie the 2015-16 team for one of the worst records to start the season in Lakers history at 0-4. As for Anthony Davis, he's focused on remaining positive as the Lakers head to Denver for a tough road test.
I mean, we feel good. Our mindset is getting our first win. You know, obviously, you know, there's some sense of urgency. You know, you don't want to dig yourself too much of a hole, but, you know, we got to stay even keel. We can't get rattled or, you know, flustered and things like that. Just like if we win 12 in a row, like, you don't want to get too high, you know. So, you know, we think all this adversity is gonna be good for us. I mean, we're glad it's happening in October and not March and April. So, but we'll make shots. We'll continue to defend how we defended and try to go in, you know, tomorrow and Friday and get a win.
You appear frustrated after the game was over, speaking with us, which was rare to have you not talk more than that. When did you let it go, and how have you kind of dealt with this rocky start?
Just have to watch the film. You know, it's a tough way to lose, tough pill to swallow, you know, when you lose a game that way, but I had to go back and watch the film and see where we can get better. You know, you can't drown yourself in you know, emotions when you got to get back to it, you know, the next day, the day after that, you know, so, you know, it's frustrating that we just didn't win the game, but, you know, my mindset is on tomorrow now.
So the test certainly does not get any easier for the Lakers. Begins in Denver, who, by the way, just lost to Portland as well. They're 2-2. And if you listened to the post-game remarks from Michael Malone, Denver's head coach, he was not happy with their defense either. How do you anticipate, Melissa, I'll start with you, the Lakers bouncing back?
Well, I think this will be a good test for them, because when teams go on the road, they're away from their families, they're away from distractions, they're forced to spend some time together, they're forced to evaluate what's going on. And this Lakers team, if any team needs that, it's this team. So I think that will be very good for them. I'm excited to see AD match up against Jokic. Jokic, obviously, 2 MVPs in a row. AD, I found it really interesting this season when we asked him, what's your goal? Are you trying to win MVP? Are you going for Defensive Player of the Year? And his response was, I just want to play all 82 games. So, you know, if AD can become the type of guy Jokic has become, if he can have that type of success, if he can tune into kind of his dog, so to say, then that would be very good for this team.
Interesting road trip. You know, a week ago I would have said, uh-oh, you know, Denver, good team, Minnesota, good team. But now all of a sudden they're kind of showing some early season issues. You know, Denver probably should not be 2-2. A little surprised at that, Mark. Still trying to figure out Jamal Murray. He sat out a game so far. Michael Porter Jr. coming back from pretty much missing an entire season. So they're not quite where people thought they would be. They're still favored by 6 against the Lakers, but still some wiggle room there if the Lakers can make their threes. As for Minnesota, the next game, same thing. They've had a couple weird games, still trying to figure out the Towns-Gobert thing. So I'm not going to say the Lakers are going to go 2-0 in this trip, but definitely 1-1 should be possible.
So it's okay that I'm still Penelope patient. Yeah, Penelope. It's still very early.
It's still October, Allie.
Having said that, they need a win.
Where are you going?
I want to go to what you mentioned with Anthony Davis specific to this matchup, because I'm very interested to see. We know how much AD loves the power forward position because of moments like this, having to bang against the other bigs. Obviously a back-to-back MVP and Jokic. How do you think the Lakers will respond with him? Because it is a matchup that he's been great in when you think of it up against Nikola.
I think this is very good for him because I think these type of matchups bring out the best in him. I think, if anything, Portland was a trap game. They thought that was a game they should win easily. Whereas I think when AD is going to go up against a player of the caliber of Jokic, he's going to bring his A game. The Lakers are going to bring their A game. They're going to want to win this game.
Because you think about it, too. Media day, Brez. He not only said he wanted to play all 82, but he wanted to get back to that elite level he's capable of.
6 blocked shots definitely puts you at that elite defensive level. Offense was great, I thought, the other day against Portland. The fact he didn't have a shot in that last 7 minutes, I'm still trying to figure that one out a little bit. So I think AD is going to say, look, we blew that game the other day. And he did say that after the game. He said, I'm sitting up here. There's no way we should lose that game. When you're up 7 with about 1:50 left, there's like a 98.9% NBA metric out there that team should win the game. It didn't happen, obviously, so he's going to carry forward his frustration, his irritation, and hopefully take it out on Denver. We can never forget the 2020 Western Conference Finals. AD really did dominate Jokic. He had a little help from Dwight Howard, no doubt about that. He can always reflect on that series, though.
Which would be interesting if they would follow kind of that blueprint when you mentioned a guy like Dwight Howard. Another intriguing element to this matchup, guys, is both have players who did not play. You see him right here a season ago. Kendrick Nunn obviously missed all of last season. Jamal Murray, for different reasons, they both have had slow starts. I do want to focus on Kendrick, Brez. Are you surprised by the struggles that he has had so far? Scoreless in the last 2.
Yeah, only because I thought he looked good, A, in the preseason, and B, I thought he was good in the opener, too. So, yeah, for him to go 0 for 10 over the last 2 games, that one caught me by surprise a little bit. I think he's a little hesitant. I noticed he had a shot, a three-pointer in the corner the other day against Portland. He was reluctant to shoot it. I can't remember if he passed out of it or if eventually he did shoot it, but you could just sense he didn't get the ball and go straight up with it. And I think Kendrick needs to get a little bit more, just stop thinking about the game so much. When he was in Miami, he did a lot of little things for the team, whether it was going down the lane with a floater or sticking a 3 here and there, playing pretty good defense, too. Getting to the free throw line as well. I haven't seen a lot of that from him in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I think the thing is the Lakers shooting can't get much worse. It's only up from here.
Right.
I think Nunn's going to find his rhythm. He's going to start playing within the game. He's going to find his shot a little more. But you're seeing this from a lot of guys who missed all of last season. Kawhi, Jamal Murray, Kendrick Nunn, they all look a little off their game. They're all trying to find their way right now. Give it a little time, but the Lakers really need some more production from Nunn.
I think we all got excited about Kendrick Nunn and what we saw from him in the preseason. But preseason to regular season action is completely different. Rotation, minutes flow. Give him that ample time.
No doubt.
The opportunity to get that rhythm back. Lakers are in Denver on